here for Mark, but it will be banned away this time around. We do also have the Zeri Lee Sin Volibear banned by Top Esports. They do change things up for LNG though. First pick of the Xayah.
And, you know, having different tools to play out with, doing incredibly well into compositions that want to run into you. Something that would have been nice to see in the last game, right, against the heavy dive coming out from the side of TES, but also having a bit of range to play with in terms of just poking out with those feathers. We know we are just seeing tons of lethality Xayah make its way into the meta. And now TS going to be the ones to respond, taking away the Rakan. So again, a lot of the shared value coming out from that one is also been Iwandi's best pick, in my opinion, in this season. And instantly going to pivot back towards the Ahri. Knight wanting to stay on that one, and also feeling like a bit of a takeaway. Doinb has just been hardcore spamming this one in solo queue as of late.
Yeah, and Knight was looking so darn good on it too. And it just feels like the kind of pick for Knight that fits so well with Tian. But this would be a big harken back to that game number 1 for LNG. It's something that I do feel like fits Doinb in the style that he needs to be linking up with the side lanes. He needs to be linking up with Tarzan himself and being the Ryze that initiates that. It gives you that option at that level 6 mark.
And now we're seeing from the side of LNG kind of trying to work around that. Just once again, going to go back to a bit of game 1 in terms of bringing out the Ryze is going to once again give them that potential to play towards Science early on. And LNG making their way towards LEona because they don't want to get banned out in the support role at the second rotation. It means they can't pick up a jungler here. And it looks like both teams once again willing to save it for second rotation in terms of just leaving those more niche jungle picks open. And for Top Esports, after having such a snowbally win, I would love for the JackeyLove Draven to come out, but we have just been seeing throughout the past few days, even yesterday's series, right, where not a lot of people opting in towards AD carries who can just walk forward safely and auto-attack. A lot of tools like the Misfortune, like I guess locking in the Aphelios once again, to be able to keep themselves safe in that backline. And now, I mean, I expect junglers to be taken off the board, right? We already have 3 now, but the Viego being another standout for TS, maybe opting into the Trundle like game 1, if that's something you're worried about Tarzan taking. Even if, once again, I feel like it's not something that suits LNG's composition too well in terms of how it wants to play out, would be able to give more appeal, would give Tarzan a little bit of comfort on a champion he knows quite well.
Well, for Top Esports, is if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The Ahri, the Aphelios, key pieces to winning these games already in this series, and they want to go right back to it. We do have that Trundle ban, as you said. It is the Kennen ban away from Wayward to take away some of the setup potential for him in the top side, but I feel like there's still a lot of options available for Wayward himself to be that integral piece to the team. Camille banned away from Ala, though.
Very interesting, right? Certain things that still come to mind with things like both Kennen and Camille off the board is like Gnar, which we have seen quite drop off heavily in playoffs. It's actually only been played once. Graves still being another option that is available that has been doing quite well. For both top laners, I feel like there's a plethora of options. I feel like it's really jungle where we're once again going to be looking at TES. They do have a comp that once again can go quite heavily into diving backline if they wanted to follow forward with what they went last time around. But without LNG opting into the same kind of composition with, you know, the mobile backline playing from a range, it seems like they do just want to go with a bit of a safer pick that is more versatile in terms of how it can play out in terms of early game aggression and team fights, even despite the nerfs that have come through.
And I do think it also goes pretty well into the composition so far for LNG, being able to block a lot of damage from Xayah if you do get a good Crescent Guard off. But I would like for this to go through. It does. We get the Wombo combo potential here. Diana locked in for Tarzan.
Yeah, tons of bursts coming out through mid-jungle, but it is double AP,
Let's
so
go.
You're going to be able to itemize against it a little bit better. And blind pick Fiora coming through. I mean, LNG going with, I'd say, a super feast or famine composition. I mean, if Diana falls behind, feels like you can be quite useless in terms of being able to get those advantages, get on the backline safely. You will just be bursted out the second you go in. And Fiora, I mean, typically, right, wanting to come in to like hard counter matchups, we're able to do a lot. And I'm very curious to see what TS go with. They do just end up locking in the Graves, so they're going to have the pushing power. Obviously takes things like the Fleet Footwork, so we'll have the healing in terms of like extended like short trades coming out. You do get a bit of movement speed off that one, having the dash to be able to get away. So, you know, Wayward not really wanting to commit fully into those duels or that 1v1 for TS looks a lot more, I'd say, team fight centric compared to what LNG have brought on the Rift. It is still very pick focused in my mind in terms of, you know, the singles target CC coming out from both the Ahri and the, you know, the Rakan kind of being able to pivot in and out. But for the side of LNG, once again, I feel like we can go back to game 1 and say, hey, this comp, very strong side laning coming through, especially with that Fiora. And in terms of the mid-game skirmishing, once the Diana comes online, if you can get that Diana ahead, if you can set her up well, she will just be able to explode the backline of top esports.
And I gotta go back to that top lane, man. What a confidence pick on blue side to 5-pick the Fiora. Just saying, I know what Wayward's done already in this series. I don't care because it's my time to carry for Alla. And I think putting all your chips into this kind of style for LNG is really interesting because, as you said, it's kind of a feast or famine situation for them. And their playoff lives are on the line. Like, this is putting so much pressure onto the team and onto the execution of the individual members.
Oh, it really does. For LNG, though, I mean, they haven't showed up in this series, but we still know those high skill ceilings are there for their side. They have set up for the Diana, at least in terms of bot lane. Doesn't really feel like you have too much in mid or top. But if they're waiting for those skirmishes, if they're waiting for those 4v4s or 5v5s, LNG going to need to come online. They're going to need to set up for Alla to succeed later on in that side lane. And top esports really going to have to be the ones to answer with the early and mid-game picks coming through.
Summoner's Rift unfolds before us for the third time of the day. More stakes this time, though, as LNG are backs up against the wall. One game from elimination in the spring playoffs. It's LNG versus Top Esports.
Top esports one series away from being able to make it to that double elimination portion, go up against the likes of Victory 5, of RNG, Knight making his way up with, you know, such famed mid laners, Zhao, who rookie, two mid laners that, honestly, I feel like Knight is in that conversation, right? All three of them being in the all-pro team, I think have by far been the best mid laners of the split, and it just feels like a warm welcome for Top Esports to find the win, to make it up there. For LNG, they had a shaky second half of the split. Alla, honestly, I feel like has struggled all of 2022 so far, and they're really going to have to make some miracles happen here to keep their playoff life alive. Not even birth, it's their life. They're already here.
It's their life. It is absolutely their life. It's an entire split worth of blood, sweat, and tears coming down to a single hour-long game potentially here. And I think that's super integral to point out, and a lot of that stress coming into all these players. Obviously, weathered LPL players know how to deal with these kinds of situations, and I do expect LNG, as one of the top-seeded teams, to find a way back in this series. But if Top Esports get a hold of the game, it looks all said and done because they have been so ruthless with their early leads.
Yeah, Top Esports, once they get ahead, again, you know they like to keep the pressure up. They like to get in your face. They like to go into the enemy jungle, get deep wards down, try and force you in, find picks, and just constantly moving the cogs of the game forward. They're not the type of team who likes to just wait out in terms of dragons or neutrals to be able to find those leads. And for now, right, I mean, you have a bit of you have the more early game oriented jungler in terms of Zhao definitely gonna have a lot better time if he finds early ganks. You have CC set up, you have a bit of burst available. Tarzan probably gonna want to look for that full clear, hit the level 6 mark as soon as he can. Then you start linking up with Doinb, has the Realm Warp available, impacting your sides, maybe getting bot lane ahead. You can try and set Alla up in a decent position, but I feel like Alla shouldn't be under any threat in terms of like 1v1 kills or even ganks if he does keep his wave, you know, at a bit of a neutral position. And Alla will scale up no matter what to be a huge monster that Top Esports will have to figure out a way to deal with.
Yeah, it's either collapsing or just finding those trades across the map itself, and early leads will help that to some extent. But I would expect some more focus on the bot side as JackeyLove gets Zenith played into. Grand entrance from Mark trying to separate some of that damage, but he's able to return a lot onto Iwandi.
And with these trades coming out on bot side, and us just talking about the comps holistically, this game, I feel like early dragons are also decently valuable for the fact that if LNG gets some of the first few dragons, it buys them more time in the side lane with Alla. They won't be forced to fight an early soul point against Top Esports in a 5v5 where maybe TS can come out ahead. And for TS, same thing. If you pick up those early dragons, it just means you're going to be able to get Alla out of a side earlier on to force those outright 5v5s.
We get the move down from Wayward, beautifully communicated there as Knight and Tian join up to get this second Scuttle Crab. Tarzan forced out of that aggressive play early on. We'll just have to go back to farming his own empty side of the jungle. But something after that skirmish that I do want to go back to is the fact that we have seen a lot coming from this bottom lane. We've seen a lot of confidence from JackeyLove on this Aphelios. The fact that he gets it for the 3rd time in a row, you're seeing that confidence ooze out of him early on in this. I mean, they've already pushed down Awandi and Light in the bottom lane, as is tradition, it feels like.
Oh, of course. I mean, especially the Aphelios up against the Xayah, you know, the guns you start with level 1, having the range advantage on the Aphelios, able to poke the Xayah out. I feel like it's a bit longer before Xayah really comes into the matchup. LNG, though, look on your mini-map. We see Tarzan hovering around right now. Looks like they were hoping for an opportunity to present itself, but Top Esports fully aware. Also do have some vision in River, so had Tarzan started to come through, maybe having a bit of time to be able to escape, especially with JackeyLove having the cleanse available. So for the side of TS right now, they're still just doing fine, playing out through this early game. Huge CS lead opening up for JackeyLove already.
Yeah, and they just constantly are pressing into LNG's bottom lane, and because of the early focus on bottom side from Tian, that path up, it kind of dissuaded anything and let TES play with a lot of that confidence of bottom lane. And now that they have this lead, it feels like they can just continue to utilize that as a point of pressure, especially as we see Tian coming down to this bottom side. Could go for the clear, but also has the dragon on the board for the first dragon of the game. We do see a ping there for the potential to early stack can be there for TES.
And I think for TS, it wouldn't be too bad to look for that option, considering that even if a fight breaks out right now, I feel like you should be favored. Tian having a level advantage as of now. Tarzan might be able to equalize that one after picking up his Raptors. But, you know, level 5 Diana versus level 5 Zhao, Top Esports going to be feeling good. You have pressure in mid lane. Wayward even hovering around from top side right now, which feels Knight even more confident to take aggressive trades. So for TS, I think you're really trying to find a skirmish. You're trying to force LNG into you, or even just hard commit to a gang pot.
We are seeing that hard commit, but it's hard to do so against Mark on the Rakan with a lot of that fluidity, but himself, JackeyLove, playing very nicely. Tian hovering there, and here comes the Dragon, started up by TES.
Yeah, so TS going to go on this one. Knight making his way over first. Does have the Spirit Rush available right now. JackeyLove having a level lead is also pretty important. Top Esports, they feel good fighting here. Is they're going to posture off with Doinb having an angle.
That's a nice little realm warp to get in, and this means LNG have taken pole position in front of this Dragon, but the grand entrance, the Dragon reset, and Tian gets the kill, first blood. They are traded back immediately, though, and it's a scrappy fight. Doinb staying alive, flashing over the wall. Knight chasing him down, gets him. JackeyLove dies to Tarzan, and Light and Tarzan survive. Dragon goes to LNG as well. It is chaos.
And for Top Esports, I think it's a little bit unfortunate, the guns that JackeyLove ended up on for that skirmish. Had he had a bit more DPS, I think you can more quickly take down Doinb in that fight and kind of pivot it into a win. Those, I think, it'd be a lot better if you were level 6, have the Moonlight Vigil available, you know, for either like a huge burst from the shotgun or the Gravitum to set up CC, but they don't. So they go in, we see an initial pick come out from Top Esports, but Light not really being challenged on one end of the fight. And sure, you're going to be able to take down Doinb here, but JackeyLove putting himself in harm's way to be able to find that. So ultimately a 2-for-2 in the end. And LNG also were the team able to secure the Dragon.
Said the early stack of a TS would be nice, but LNG do not let that happen. They force the fight over it, and they come out with a little bit on top. Not in the gold lead, but at least maybe it's some mental advantage, as they were able to take the first objective there. But next up on the Rift is going to be Rift Herald in about 20 seconds. We have seen Top Esports not put as much priority into that Rift Herald, but now that they lost the first Dragon, I wonder if that does change, Lyric.
For the side of TS, I mean, I don't think it changes too much, right? Because Tian still should be the one looking for a lot of these kind of advantages. We've seen playing around top side for now with Rift Herald coming up. You're going to have to clear out a lot of this vision because LNG do have double control wards in top side River. The good thing for Top Esports is the fact that their bot lane is push, so they are able to move first and start this one up. Now I want to see if LNG opt to kind of contest. You do have ultimate on Tarzan, so Diana hitting this power spike where he is strong. We do see Light just committing down to bot lane, so I feel like LNG just going to back off for this one.
It's just a trade back. Some turret plates being worked on by Light down there, which I love to see. After getting pressed into his tower all early game, he actually gets a little bit back for himself. But again, the trades will not end up in too much. We do get the Rift Herald for Tian to see if he wants to pop a top lane already, as we have the lane swaps coming out from top.
I mean, for TS, not wanting to give too much over to Light, Wayward had the TP, so he can make his way down there, catch those waves, not allow Xayah to push, and JackeyLove can just instantly go towards his top side. Aphelios, with the chakrams available, right, very easily able to burn down these tower plates. I still expect a reset to come out and both teams to pivot back to normal lane matchups. For JackeyLove on the Aphelios, I think you really do want to just abuse in this 2v2, but LNG actually being the ones to answer. I'm a bit more surprised LNG aren't willing to pull like the trigger on a more aggressive play, right? Doinb hovering around, doesn't have the Realm Warp available just yet, so maybe that's what it is for LNG. If not, you can try and force those numbers advantage plays onto the fact that JackeyLove is playing so far forward, taking these turret plates. Dragon not up for 2 minutes, though.
He stopped the back from Ala, which means Wayward gets 2 plates to his own in the bottom side. So nice little microaggressions from JackeyLove there to make sure that things can work out for Wayward. Now we do see LNG committing to this top side. I feel like JackeyLove has his spider senses tingling a little bit here, Lyric, as maybe not, because he just stepped right back up. The Realm Warp coming in. The cleanse is not enough because the Glacial Augment is there. JackeyLove dies to Light.
Yeah, JackeyLove going down. This was the play we were just hitting on of why I expected top esports push out that wave, take some plates, instantly go for the recalls back down towards bot side. You're kind of opening up a window for LNG to make these plays. They do lose out on mid. Knight going to at least be able to get 1 plate. I wonder if Tian will want to drop this now. You could, and set up for the second Rift Herald to potentially be the thing that just outright breaks this, but no, they're actually getting a lot of damage down. LNG really slow to respond.
But this is also huge. Like, this is not something we've seen in the last couple games where we get that full-on focus on Knight, but it is something that has led to so much success for top esports. And we can talk about Wayward, we can talk about JackeyLove in the bottom lane, but the core to success is this mid-jungle duo. The fact that they get all 5 plates in the mid lane and first tower for Knight, it's a boon.
Huge for the side of top esports to be able to do it. But again, a lot of it comes from the fact that LNG did make the play on top and didn't keep too many resources around mid. I actually feel like they overcommitted resources top to make that play on JackeyLove. And I'm actually surprised they're still sticking around. Dragon coming up in 25 seconds typically is when you'd want to rotate your pressure lane back down to the opposite side, which gives you tempo. You're able to push in the wave, get that objective. But both teams for now staying up around top. I want to see if top esports start rotating now, though. Only 10 seconds until that one's up.
Yeah, it's the second Dragon of the game. They did lose that first one, so maybe a little bit of propensity to get back down there as Tian is on his way that way. We do have Wayward going into the pit himself. So it looks like it will be top esports claiming this one as Tarzan. Nowhere really to be seen as he's trying to put that pressure in top side to take LNG's first tower of the game.
And LNG just going to commit to the cross map, knowing that top esports have the first move down to bot side, so TES now just holding Knight up to top to try to, absorb some of this XP, slow down the push a little bit. LNG do get 1 turret, but look at Tian on the bottom side of the map. JackeyLove's also pushed in mid, so they can start rotating numerous members down there and getting more plates down and even make their way towards another turret going down.
So many plates in this game already. So much gold to be given around early on. That means we've got to get some serious fireworks a little bit later, right? As Tian does take those Krugs. Another turret plate will go down to Wayward. And that will be, if I'm doing my on-screen math correctly, I believe it will be 9 plates total to top esports. As perfect timing for math as we get a pause.
Yeah, gonna wait a little bit, find out what is going on here in terms of the pause. But so far, I feel like we've been seeing a lot of good reactions come out. Top esports have definitely had their front foot forward, if I can talk, in terms of, right, they've been initiating a lot of the rotations, especially with the pressure coming out from their Aphelios lane, move towards top. After, a few minutes of shenanigans there, we see the Aphelios go towards mid, and LNG typically having to be the ones to either answer, like we saw in the top side play, or just opt into cross-mapping once TS just went for that Dragon right there. So I feel like both teams responding appropriately to make sure that they're going into the mid-game even, especially for the side of LNG, feels really important considering you do have that Fiora who's still going to be a menace later on. And both teams only sitting at 1 Dragon for now. She's going to get more time to try and play out and find that advantage as she finds more items.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all about the slow and steady buildup as well. Getting Doinb into those side lanes, starting to see the gears that we typically see for LNG, and I think that's super interesting, especially with the games that we've had already for them, with that tightly contested first game, then the second game that was an absolute smash by Top Esports. To see some of that life in LNG in this third game is so crucial, because this is one of the top teams of the LPL regular season. This is a team that is built for success, and not being able to find it here, getting smashed out in a 3-0 is not the success you want to have.
No, and for LNG, right? I mean, we had so many teams. I think every team other than EDG changed their roster in some way. And for LNG, it looked like on paper they found upgrades. I mean, after the past few years that Allah's had, it looked like a really good change coming in for their side. We saw Doinb, of course, coming into the mid lane now, playing with Tarzan. It just felt like a match made in heaven in terms of mid jungle. Tarzan, who was the best jungler, I feel like, just undoubtedly, even in the early half of LPL. In the 7-0 run that LNG had in the first few weeks, Tarzan was just dominating everyone. But, again, starting to fall off, Doinb not finding the form, and it really just hasn't felt like it doesn't feel like it's more than the sum of its parts. There we go. It doesn't even feel like the sum of its parts, as LNG have just kind of floundered. But this game, I do feel like they are at least in a decent position going into the mid game.
Oh.
Hey, we're back.
We're back, and Mark with the grand entrance. Knight has the connection. Doinb still pretty tanky, though, on this Ryze, and now Mark is in some serious trouble here as Tarzan picks up his second kill of the game.
And crucial for him, right? He has Hextech Rocket Belt in pocket, giving him more opportunities to find his way onto the back line. Also having his ultimate up. So for LNG, I feel like this is really where they feel like they can start taking some bites. Heck, a bunch of mythics up across the board. Top Esports maybe still needing some backs before more of those come out. But Mark here trying to set up a pick onto Doinb. But for TS, I actually feel like the more important thing about this play is look at the minimap. You have full wards in their bot side jungle. You don't spot out Tarzan. He's not showing on any wave. So I'm a bit surprised TS completely opt into this play, maybe assuming he's on a reset, thinking they have the burst to get Doinb down fast enough. They don't. Tarzan able to respond, and they answer back.
Yeah, he just has the health extra there from the tanky setup. Did have the plated steel caps, though, so maybe that's why they thought, oh, we could just burn him out. But he is a Ryze. He is terrifying. We do see Wayward answering the bot lane push from Allah, as he does get a couple plates there. But something else I want to reiterate on is we were talking about LNG feeling a lot different in this game, seeing some of those hints of life for themselves. But Light himself on this Xayah feels like he's finally showed up and able to participate in the series itself against JackeyLove, who is now sitting at 0-2 on a pick that he has been pressing into Light all 3 games to this point.
Yeah, now, I mean, still a bit of a gold lead, but it feels like they're finding themselves on the back foot. I do want to highlight Tian, though, going with the Gore Drinker, so not getting another Turbo Chem Tanks in Zhao is pretty pog, if I do say so myself. But Mazel Rift Herald about to come up. I feel like, crucially, a lot of summoners and ults up on both sides. Doinb won't have the flash, so we'll have to be a bit more careful about walking forward if they do look to contest. With all members of LNG heading up, Knight finds a charm.
A long CC chain there with the Everfrosted Charm, but it is on to Iwandi to get another tanky member. But here we are, bread and butter for Top Esports. Second Rift Herald on the board, bringing everybody this way. Wayward on his way as well. But right now, it's a 4v4, and LNG look like they want to contest here as well, as they are setting up in front of this.
Tarzan.
TP now coming in from the bottom lane on Allah. We have Wayward joining here. He has the TP available. Charm connects on Iwandi. Iwandi dies to Wayward. Beautiful collateral damage, and Mark goes forward. Moonlight Vigil, and Tarzan's down. This is tragedy for LNG. They didn't even need to fight this fight. Doinb dies too, and that's 3 shots across for Top Esports.
Really nice by Top Esports to pull the trigger so fast. I mean, they started moving Wayward up early, gives them the confidence to fish for these charms onto Iwandi, and without that frontliner there, LNG aren't confident. Wayward instantly pivots back to bot to take the spot lane turret. You have another Herald, so TS might be able to walk away with 2 turrets after that winning fight.
I can't believe the turnaround. It just seems to come up every time. Rift Herald number 2 is alive. Top Esports fight for it, and this time LNG fall for the bait. It is a big pickup for all of Top Esports and a huge team fight win to get that momentum in their side.
So crucial for Knight to be able to find that charm to force that one in. The members of LNG not feeling comfortable following forward, then instantly everything goes on to Tarzan, Moonlight Vigil to follow up. And Knight, with the resets coming out, charm comes back off cooldown. They're able to finish this one off. But again, I feel like the pivotal thing was LNG not feeling too comfortable to initially go forward because they know Wayward is moving up first. They have to commit the TP from Allah for him to even match in time. And then by then, Tarzan and Iwandi not given the time to find the engage I think they were looking for onto JackeyLove because they did have every tool available.
They did, and unfortunately the trigger pool's just on the side of TES a little bit better. Dragon up on the board. This would be second Dragon for either team. You see TES getting that priority in mid lane, trying to move down. That collateral damage early, but getting a little bit of poke damage on LNG, and their health bars can't set up for the fight here. Solar Flare goes out a little bit randomly from Iwandi, and LNG back away as second Dragon goes to TES.
I mean, top esports have full control over vision in this river, so LNG would be walking blind. They're a relatively short-range composition, something Aphelios thrives into, having Knight the whole time throwing out Qs, so they were just taking a bunch of free damage. So TS doing a nice job of using their pressure of you know, not fully committing, making LNG be the ones to make a decision to be able to force their way for that Dragon. And Tian didn't have to use a Herald for topside because they have two members there. Can now drop this one down mid. They're going to be able to guarantee a turret here.
That's another brick in the wall for top esports. A second tier tower in the mid lane. That charge will not continue, but they're actually pressing up with Wayward on the bottom side. This one's a little bit more difficult to charge into, as Wayward would be backing away with the resets from top esports, but they do find themselves at that 4,000 gold lead here, and we've seen it time and time again in this series. Once they get the lead, they do not like to give it up.
And I feel like so far this game, Knight really has been the pivotal performer once again, sitting at 100% kill participation. One player I want to highlight who we haven't really talked about today is Mark, because I feel like it's easy to pivot towards Wayward with how flashy a lot of his plays are. But ever since coming onto the roster, Mark and Wayward really have made a difference. Tian coming back in. Mark just feels like he works so much better with JackeyLove down on that bot side. Especially after Zhao, you know, coming out making a statement, feeling like he wasn't in the best form, kind of wanting to take a back seat in Mark. Not only being solid in lane for JackeyLove, not only kind of being on the same wavelength in terms of the aggression, because Mark, another player who just loves to go in. But it feels like in terms of the 5v5s, in terms of the team fights, Mark always able to find, you know, good setups coming out from him. So, again, ever since the top esports roster changed, they really just have been a synchronized unit, a coordinated squad of absolute killers.
Well, and I think that killer instinct is so crucial, but also something that was very interesting as, you know, we're going to get the potential wrap around by TES.
I love
wanted
Wayward.
to make a point here. Well, Mark goes away on the side. Wayward does get CC down here, focus down, but Tian on the backside. This is such a chaotic fight. TES, Moonlight Vigil, max range from JackeyLove, doesn't connect all the damage onto Iwandi. TES get out by the skin of their teeth, but so do LNG. As the point I was going to say earlier is the fact that, you know, you were putting a lot of focus on Iwandi and how his play style is affecting the way LNG like to find wins, but Mark himself as well, you know, having some of that tenure, having some of that experience, but showing up when it matters, having the big win rates on Renatas, on the new champions, but showing the flexibility in his pool.
Yeah, kind of both supports, right? Both supports coming in pretty recently to the squads to be able to make changes. For LNG, though, it feels like, at least in the series, it's not enough. 4K gold deficit in their deciding game. If they lose here, they are just out. TS really have been the ones to run them around the map so far. I feel like we haven't really seen much from Doinb in this series in terms of, like, Realm Warp usage or linking up with teammates. Tarzan and Iwandi have been trying to link up and find things, but not resulting in too much. And even now, look at top esports, fully committing to cover Knight and top side. They know Wayward relatively safe down in that bottom lane. JackeyLove doesn't need to put himself in harm's way to catch waves in mid. Just kind of constant pivoting from lane to lane for TES.
Iwandi barely showing on the vision there. Just gives Knight the upper hand in that situation. He will just play it calmly there as the top lane potential for LNG was not there this time around. We do have about a minute and a half until the next dragon spawns. It is a cloud dragon, but it is sole point for TES. And as we've seen before, right, they will completely stranglehold these objectives if you give them that advantage in it. We do see a lot of people from LNG moving down this way. Need to see that vision game come through, though, for LNG. get some of that safety in your side of the jungle.
I mean, for LNG, right, it's going to come in a few steps. First of all, they got to start clearing out their own jungle because they know top esports just had control of bot side. So they should assume that wards are there. Secondly, I feel like what you need is to try to get pressure through bot. Forcing pressure through mid, especially if TS start grouping up again, will be impossible. But if you can guarantee the pressure through the Fiora lane, you'll at least be able to walk into river through bot side. So those are the two things I'm kind of looking for LNG. Clear your own jungle, make sure you keep up that pressure in bot, maybe dedicate more resources right now to helping Ala to make sure that can come through.
Look at this.
Oh, top esports. Kind of nice pivot because Knight TPing in here keeps more pressure on, allows Wayward to keep pushing forward aggressively, and doesn't allow for answers to come through for LNG.
That's the tried and true fashion for TES. Keep the pedal to the metal here. And they are doing just that as the Dragon spawns in 15 seconds. You now have everybody from LNG coming this way as well. They will have at least a little bit of a push out in the mid lane itself, but it's still going to be very scary to walk in here as Wayward baiting out all the abilities. There's the moonfall, but it doesn't matter because TES are coming in with a vengeance afterwards. The feather recall is not going to be enough as now it's just a front to back, and Knight is picking them apart. They get one back. JackeyLove falls, but it's the Knight show in this third game. It's the TES show in this third game, and they're on to the Dragon. The Dragon going down to Tian. Now they have to make out here as Ala and Tarzan back away.
I mean, to be fair, I mean, LNG actually don't have too much skirmishing power here. I mean, you're on a Fiora, right? It's all about the single target. It's all about dueling one member. The Diana having no ultimate, not able to follow up really with much either. So I feel like LNG not able to force, maybe kind of just posturing, hoping maybe an opportunity presents itself. Maybe someone overextends.
That Amumu emote's
I'm never going to stop loving it, dude.
Yeah.
It's so great. It's so great coming out from TS. And now, like you said, Soul Point from their side. In the deciding game, still 4K gold up, 3-0-4. Ahri for Knight. Banshee's Veil available against double AP on the opposite side. Everything's working wonders is here. You see Iwandi missing with the E. Ult as well. Wayward able to walk forward and dodge a little bit. Sure, Tarzan finds a moonfall, but only onto Wayward. So top esports instantly pull the trigger and commit. Get Iwandi super low with the Spirit Rush coming out from Knight. Doinb walking forward to try and secure the kill. And JackeyLove is able to do it, but you gave up so much.
Oh, Wayward gets caught out here. The grand challenge is alive and well, and Ala gets the healing back. Here comes the round more from Doinb. This is the kind of turnaround you need from LNG. They need to find something here, and Flash from Knight will get him away.
And Knight having to commit a full flash to be able to get away from that one. Still, I mean, now TS, you start making your way up towards top and securing vision control. LNG buy themselves some breathing room with the fact that they find that pick. They also did have to burn a flash themselves coming out from Ala. But hey, more gold in your pocket from the kill, more gold in your pocket from taking this turret. They're going to have to keep Knight down towards this bottom side to answer the wave that LNG are pushing in. So overall, just nice win coming out from the side of LNG to keep, get the game closer to a neutral state, to inch them forward, especially now as we see more key items coming off for LNG. The Zhanyas, especially for the Diana, you get in there, you blow the combo, and you won't instantly go down. As we see the replay coming out in bot side, Wayward setting up for Knight to come down. We see the Frost doesn't hit, not able to follow up with the charm, and once the kill comes out from Ala, just instantly the reset, Knight having to run away.
It's a quick turnaround for LNG and something we needed to see from them, a little bit of sign of life, but Ala maybe needs to check that sign of life as more than half of his health bar gets taken out. The vision game from TES will be pushed forward from this mid lane outwards, as we do still have a little while for these next objectives. I'm sure we'll get a lot of this game around the Baron pit now, just to make sure that LNG have vision around it, because you can't let the likes of this composition from TS burn down the Baron super quickly. They've already gotten a lot of control around the map itself. If they get Baron buff, that is going to seal the deal for a lot of these towers. You see TS hovering around this pit here, as they do know that they can burn it, but they want to keep the vision in favor of themselves and force LNG into darkness.
Yeah, I mean, and they're even just trying to pull pressure on the opposite side, right? We see Wayward right now still pushing because Wayward has teleport available. Push him in, make Ala come and answer the wave. Heck, even Doinb right now trying to posture around. Because if LNG find a pick onto Wayward, both Doinb and Ala have TP. So TS might look to just start up a Baron as response, but then LNG can still commit 5 members to the top side to answer the play the top esports go to make. So I like that Wayward backs off, doesn't stay too aggressively far forward. And for TS, I don't think they're just going to outright commit to a Baron or set up a turn for the fact that they are the ones sitting on Soul Point. And, you know, champions like Rakan getting so much value out of a Cloud Soul coming through, being able to follow up with targets. Knight as well on the Ahri. I feel like you'll be able to get a lot done in terms of being able to keep layering the CC down, follow up on members like Knight if they are trying to kite back and get away from a skirmish. So TS, 1 minute, 10 seconds. Can they keep the setup up, push in mid-wave, try and get vision control back down to bot side jungle? Because with Ala so strong, he's been able to keep pushing bot side, which has opened up Tarzan to get wards in bot lane river.
And I will say, just doing a little bit of an item check in here, we have 50 seconds until it does come through. But the thing that's standing out to me here is we have full item, 3 item completions for TS pretty much across the board on their carries, where we're just on the precipice for LNG. Maybe incremental leads matter, but those item spikes are going to be huge, especially for JackeyLove, especially for Wayward, as TS set up in front of this Dragon Pit and force LNG's hand.
And they're fishing for picks right now, right? We see them kind of walking forward with Mark. Mark knowing, you know, he has the safety to get out between his E and his W. Wayward now making his way and pushing in mid-wave. So you're trying to create more points on the map where LNG have to look to answer. And once again, for LNG to take this fight, Iwandi needs to find a massive ultimate where Tarzan follows up. JackeyLove still incredibly vulnerable. Knight might have a stopwatch and a Banshee's Veil, but JackeyLove doesn't have anything.
He does not. It's all about the setup here as LNG trying to get round around the way for Ala on the side here, but Knight on the back. You got to look for the Dragon here. 3,000 health, Tian, Crescent Guard, and it will be secured by TES. What about the fight after Iwandi's already down? So is Tarzan. He got a big blade collar, potential for Light, but Light getting flashed on by Knight. It's not going to be up yet, though. Tian is back in on the Doinb. Doinb goes down. 5 members from Top Esports still alive, and Top Esports destroy LNG.
Top Esports get sold. Top Esports get all the kills. They can start pivoting up towards topside to take this Baron, and it's looking like a matter of time, Mazel. Top Esports making their way to a 3-0 statement over LNG.
And it is catastrophe, disappointment, absolute tragedy for this to be going down against LNG. The way that they've had their season go, it cannot go down that way, but it's happening before our very eyes. Baron goes to TES, and TES rule all in this series.
Yeah, I mean, a massive gold lead. Looks like we're going into a replay, Mazel. I gotta be honest, I'm at about 10 frames right now, so if you'd break this one down for me,
it was just that crescent guard. The moonfall from Tarzan was huge, but the capitalization from TS, they just move in, the crescent guard blocks all the damage, and he smites it away beautifully. It's about mechanics in these playoffs, and TS just come up with it all.
So crescent guard, so Tian once again kind of being the big standout. Thank you for being my eyes, Mazel. So you know about production, always a bit rough. As Wayward,
he's in some trouble.
He's gone
down to Doinb. Tian just showing himself there with the rest of TS. They could route Tarzan, and here you go. Audacious charge over the wall. TP coming in, though, for some reinforcements for LNG. Is it enough? Tarzan just dies. Oh, no, Iwandi! What are you doing? He just walks in and gets blasted. Doinb is trying to realm warp out. Will not succeed. A double kill tonight, and everything for LNG is gone. They just over and over again force these fights and die every time. The flash from Knight will seal the deal, and there's only one left, and it's Light for LNG.
And now for TS, you see them sending JackeyLove to get the wave top. They want to start pushing through, taking down these structures, opening inhibitors, and get us closer to ending this game. They've almost made their way up to a 10K gold lead, and I don't feel like things really get easier for LNG. Like, sure, again, they might have like late game scaling in terms of Fiora coming through, but again, a lot of that was kind of built on enabling your Fiora to force the 1v1, trying to find the 4v4 skirmishes on the opposite side. Now that TS already have Soul, it feels like it's gone with the massive gold leads as well. The item advantage is on their side. Knight, 25 stacks on the Medjais. LNG feel like they just run out of time.
Inhib tower will go down. The biggest thing for me is the kill participation for TS. I said at the beginning, it has been an all-team show for this squad. They have shown up. Every single person has moments of highlight. Mark himself, 100% KP in this one, but we'll get a replay of that original catch out on Wayward.
I mean, they had to look for something, right? They know they're falling so far behind, so they look for it the only way they can with committing Doinb to follow up with Tarzan. But TES were already, playing around that mid lane, already playing towards the top side jungle. Just gives them faster room to collapse, answer back the kills. And then other members like LNG funneling in was a bit confusing, like Ala TPing him in, bringing him down. Feels like it's better just to cut your losses, think, hey, we found a pick, maybe we bought some breathing room, it didn't work out, and just try and buy more time. Try and hope the top esports make a mistake. Try and keep some, defensive vision up and get something, but no. LNG just kind of like rammed their fist into the wall, hoping it would break it, and you know what? Now they're in the hospital.
Yeah, a couple
Good job,
broken
LNG.
fingers for LNG there, but this is a terrifying position. It's like being in the water with a shark while there's a big chunk of chum waiting right next to you, because the way that TES play, they will smash these leads into your base, into your face, and we're seeing it already. Look at all this vision. Look at all this control. They will not let LNG leave their base, and they will continue to push in these towers.
And for TS, I like that they're also covering potential engages from LNG, right? Because if they're playing out through 3 lanes, it opens up the Diana.
Wayward gets caught though. Big wombo combo as Wayward already down, but look at the backline. JackeyLove has red and white, and he's ready to fight. Knight is still full health as well. Mark, a little bit worse for Wear here. They only lose Wayward, as has been the case, it seems. We get out alive for a little bit longer. LNG with a huge capitalization.
Yeah, I think TS also reading the play well, right? Because again, you could have had Wayward playing another lane. Maybe you have Knight push in mid. But they know LNG are going to commit down towards that bottom side with the Diana and LEona. It's really the only play they have left available. Wait for TS to show another wave, try and make the play. They just go for the force right then and there. Sure, you find one pick, but the fact that top esports do have 5 members ready to answer, it means they're able to get 2 in return themselves. Wayward, very bold. Tons of confidence coming out from him. Does pay for it, but still opens up for the re-engage from Mark. Beautiful the quickness to lock the 2 members down. And the Moonlight Vigil by JackeyLove just seals the deal. Now we are less than 1. He just doesn't stop. He's a true memer. Again, I just can't have more love for this guy in terms of what he does with his emotes. But 26 seconds on Dragon. I took so long to say 26 seconds. It's actually less now. Mazel, they have the vision. They have the minions pushing in. They got it all.
This is TS. They don't care so much. They want to look for picks ahead of time. They want to keep up the momentum here. LNG do TP in to set up for this Dragon, but they are surrounded here, and I don't know if they knew. Doinb caught out. Iwandi almost dead. Knight goes golden because of the solar flare from Iwandi, but now TES are set up in a front to back where LNG are kind of reeling in the way that they want to approach this Dragon pit, and Elder is on the board.
I mean, they just have no good way of getting in here, right? And I mean, we even see now Knight might even be on full build as the item just kind of went down. JackeyLove start this up himself. Knight!
Yeah, Iwandi is
the pick.
Dead. That's the Magi's. That's the stacks. That's the Realm Lord from LNG, but the Elder Dragon's already down. Look at the Moonlight Vigil. They're moving forward. They want those flaps. They want the Elder Dragon. They want double elim as LNG, the 4th seed of the LPL, the 7-win streak at the beginning of the season means nothing. LNG season will be over because of top esports, because of the momentum that this team has shown, and they are showing up for playoffs.
And top esports, a team that had to change their roster numerous times throughout this split, bringing in Wayward, bringing in Mark, and bringing Tian back, able to bring it together.
One last time, the kills go down. Disappointment for LNG, but top esports have a date with destiny. They have a date with double elim, and they have a series against V5 on the horizon.
Yeah, my God. I mean, massive performance from top esports today. Statement games. LNG on the opposite end not showing up. Some questionable drafts coming out today. The proactivity not there at all. The battle for Middle-earth. We didn't see it. Top esports just kind of granted it with Knight having, huge standout performances back to back. His Ahri was so pivotal. Wouldn't be surprised if he picked up another MVP here. But Tian, I feel like Tian just a member I gravitate towards for the fact that he really has had some horrible performances this split. Game-losing performances for top esports. He came in today. He had a great show. And TS as a whole, I mean, it's hard to criticize anywhere. because again, they just slammed LNG. LNG weren't even competitive in the series.
That's the craziest part is, again, I know I've said it a million times today, but in these last 2 series that we've seen from top esports, I don't feel like there's a game that goes by where you can't laud about one of these players. Like, every single game, it just seems like the team effort is there, either be it led by the transition into Tian being the shot caller away from JackeyLove. But it doesn't matter because it all comes together. You use that mid-jungle duo to precipice into the late game team fights for JackeyLove to shine. And Mark all along there, I don't know if he ended up with 100 KP, but it was incredible to see the proactivity from this team. And honestly, the sky's the limit. We have seen them dismantle teams 2 times in a row already.
Yeah, I mean, TS, again, they're going forward. A bunch of momentum is all. Word I hate.
I know you hate it, but it's alive and well.
Yep. At this point, momentum is a great word to use for the side of TS. Going forward, we'll see how it holds up, considering they do play V5 next, considering that, those games did get delayed, so we're going to be waiting about a week before we do see that series itself. But gonna give a lot of time to readjust for TS. A lot of video, a lot of VODs for V5 to be able to watch to get a good read on top esports. Yeah. And I don't know. I don't feel like TS came into playoffs, reinvented the wheel, or reinvented themselves. They stuck to what they do best. A lot of playing around night, a lot of individual playmaking coming out across the map. Again, Wayward in game 1, JackeyLove, some solid performances. And I mean, heck, I feel like this damage graph represents it well. Yeah. Everyone pulled their weight in terms of the 3 carries, and we had highlight moments. You highlighted Tian's Crescent Guard in the fight that I wasn't able to see because of 1 frame per second. Mark coming in, having some really good uses of the quickness, synchronizing with JackeyLove in lane quite well. And yeah, just overall team performance where everyone was able to stand out, but also because no one shined on the opposite side for LNG today.
That's what I want to talk about. We do have to take the time to realize that our 4th seed of the LPL is gone. Our 7-0 start of LNG meant absolutely nothing. Like, this season is over, and it is disappointment. It is heartbreak. You put together this roster, you have the